Hi, my name is JC Hope and welcome to the very first episode of Wordsworth. This is my brand new YouTube series dedicated to helping aspiring writers and fellow viewers to improve and expand their English vocabulary. Each episode will be covering new words that relate to a common theme. For example, I have plans to make videos on how to write combat, how to write nature, how to describe certain forms of architecture. I'll explain how similar words can have contrasting and hidden definitions. This episode is all about fixing one of the biggest problems that all writers have encountered. When writing dialogue, it can get very repetitive when you're using the word said over and over and over and over again. But there are plenty of alternatives I can offer when you are writing dialogue. Here we go. Let's get started with words related to raising one's voice. The first is cried. Cried is by far the most versatile form of describing someone raising their voice with emotion. And what's great is that you can use it for any emotion. You can say the person cried of joy, cried of sadness, cried of fear, cried of anger and disgust, and pretty much any other emotion that was snubbed from Disney Pictures Inside Out. Exclaimed is a nice medium between said and cried. It's high in volume, but there's not much tension. This is when a character wants to be heard and make an important point, but there's not much danger or conflict involved. There may be some sass, but nothing's blowing up. The next word I want to offer is shouted. Shouted is great when you want to emphasize the character being loud versus, let's say, yelled, which is more focused on the character being angry. Then you have a word like hollered, which is used to emphasize great distance between the speaker and the listener. Screamed is great when you want to convey fear. Then there's also shrieked. It has the same emotion and event, but it's more sharp and quick, like someone was caught off guard. Squealed helps to describe a young, innocent character in a perilous situation. It also works if the character is small and adorable, and it actually works well for comedic moments when a tough, seemingly brave character suddenly lets out a girly scream. Wailed is sort of like crying of sadness and fear meets shouted. The person's being very loud and annoying. It's perfect for a damsel or a dude in distress or anyone who's completely helpless. Whined. Whined is not to be confused with complaining. It's a great word for describing a high-pitched character who's acting very petty, childish, impatient, and lazy. Then there's groaned. Groaned has a similar context, but it's used for a older, mature character with a lower voice and usually has a more justified reason of being upset. Hissed. Hissed is a terrific word. It's used to describe a character that can be defiant, merciless, and or threatening. It's a simple way to show conflict between different characters. But because it does involve snake-like imagery, I would highly recommend using it for only thin, menacing, or other characters who have a snake-like personality. The attitude may work well for a big burly character, but not so much the look and the imagery. Barked is very similar, as it is an animal-based exclamation, but barked is also used whenever someone is being loud and bossy towards other characters. Roared is great. Imagine a tall character whose booming voice and presence emits immediate danger. Threatened and commanded are decent words, though in my personal opinion they tend to be slightly weaker than the other animal-based words I had just mentioned. Moving along, let's briefly get into some more quiet words. Whispered. Whispered is everyone's bread and butter for talking about a character who's basically speaking quietly. Muttered is a good word for someone who's being quick and quiet, or maybe the person's being very sly and secretive. Mumbled is great when you're referring to a timid, reserved speaker who may not be able to speak clearly. Murmured, I would say, has a harsh tone. It's something you hear from either an enemy, groups of gossipy people, or any suspicious figure. Whimpered. Whimpered is like the quiet counterpart to wailed. Someone may be ready to cry or they just finished sobbing. Imagine that person was raising their lower lip like this. Or they were just wiping snot from their nose after, it was dripping. On to basic conversation, when no one is being too loud or too quiet. Sometimes words can mean the same thing, but they carry different formalities. A great example is replied versus responded. They both mean the same thing when a second or third character is speaking to a previous character, but replied is more casual, responded is more formal. Same thing goes with asked versus questioned. One is something you hear from a friend, the other is something you hear from a professional, maybe a teacher or your boss. There's also suggested versus proposed. Suggest is something you might hear from a friend. Propose is often more likely to be said by a business partner. For fact giving, when important information is being revealed or debated, here's some other ideal words you can use. Explained is great, not only in the generic sense, but it's a great fit for whenever you have one character unloading a paragraph load of information related to the current predicament. Constructed works for more professional and courteous characters, like let's say a theme park host or even a really nice teacher. Confirmed draws back to previously mentioned comment or allegation, something you hear from an ally or partner. Stated would fit a more neutral character, simply giving the facts, and also it works for an adamant character who is trying to argue a point with data they believe to be valid. Assured and reassured essentially mean the same thing, though the other happened a second or third time, and basically they're reaffirming compelling arguments and facts in order to dispel any doubts or worry. Reminded is great whenever you have a counter-argument or a concerned friend. It's a simple word that can be used to bring back important plot points that become relevant for the present scene. Recited does have a musical theme. It's great for speaking or for performing something that was memorized, whether it's a poem or a spell. Very good for writing fantasy. Chanted also works. It's a word that's both musical and magical, but it can also convey celebration and support. It's something you would hear from, let's say, sports fans who are rooting for their home team. Cheered and praised also mean the same thing. They're often spoken from friends and allies. Cheered is more emotional, while praise is more focused on an intelligent point. As for negative feedback, this is where it can get really fun. Snapped. Snapped is great for someone who's being defensive and quick to talk back. Terrific for any heated argument. Retorted is more preferred for a character that is clever and calm, someone with comedic prowess. Taunted is a bit more petty and devilish, something you'd hear from either henchmen or from the protagonist trying to provoke another character. Mocked. Mocked is a great word. It has more impact. This is when a character is being condescending towards another. He or she has no respect for that person and wants to make them feel inferior. Great for drama. That will conclude our very first episode. I want to thank you all for sticking around to the very end. I hope I've been helpful in your writing ambitions. So if you want, you can go ahead and hit the like button down below. Let me know if there are any other useful words that I actually may have missed. Do you guys have other ideas for video themes I could do in the future? Let me know in the comments below. I appreciate all feedback and constructive criticism. Stay tuned and hit the subscribe button down below. Next episode, I'll be sharing words to describe moving from one place to another. It is tentatively called How Not to Use Went. I'll see you all next Wednesday, and keep on writing.